If you enjoy movies, comic books, and pop culture, be sure to like and subscribe.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC Podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me as always,
Erik.
Erik!
What's up, Mike?
You can find us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow the shop at REC Comics, or you can come visit us at 7679 North Union Boulevard in Colorado Springs, Colorado. You can follow me at Roman REC Podcast, and you can see the big Tuna on the ones and twos with us today. Whoop, whoop. How are you guys doing?
Good, man.
Good?
Tired.
Good? Yeah, dude, I'm tired. We had ourselves quite the free comic book day. Thank you all who attended. We were busy.
We were very busy.
We were very busy. It exceeded our expectations.
Yes, it did.
And we had a blast. And I think we're older because of it, though. I mean, it does.
It does age you.
Eric's got a little bit more gray hair in the beard for a 29-year-old male. He's got a little too much in there.
It's how it does it. Did they all pick up their prizes for the raffles?
We've had one person pick up their prize, the Todd McFarlane Artist Edition for Spider-Man.
That one is
Shout out to
banging.
Robert.
Nice.
Yeah, but we still have the Spider-Boy and the Harley Quinn book. So
you got a month-ish.
You got a month to come get it. Well, yeah, less than a month. So
yeah.
definitely swing by. We did not see the big Tuna here at the shop. His presence was sorely missed, but he's got to do Tuna things. And Tuna things aren't always comic things, all right?
True, yeah, very true.
If they are, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. So, we just tell you about it and we're good. Were there any, moments from the Free Comic Book Day that stand out to you?
I know I got to see some people I hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Nice.
Yeah, just customers and just cool, Because
Yeah.
I kind of got to know him when I was watching the shop a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was good to see him.
Nice.
Good to see him, yeah.
I had to remind Erik that he wasn't on break. He was talking a little too much with some people. And it's like, dude, we're not paying you to do that. We're paying you for the looks, not for the not for the jibba jabba.
Not for the chit chat. Big ups to Ken.
Yeah. Oh God, huge shout out to Ken just hitting that
doing
register,
his thing,
doing
and
his thing.
Mrs. REC doing her thing. It was all good.
Yeah, man. I'm ready. It's gonna take another year for me to be ready for the next one. So.
What do you mean? We got 4 months.
Oh my gosh.
For the anniversary.
The anniversary will be the next party, but I'm talking about Free Comic Book Day.
They're synonymous.
We started our weekend off right. The REC boys. We all went and we watched the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This was a big event for us. Erik hasn't been interested in many of the Marvel movies lately. Big Tuna's kind of always, I think he likes them a little bit more than Erik, but he still has his gripes. I'm a fanboy with my problems, but this was going to be the first time that we saw a director and writer, let's be real, do a complete vision. He has done every iteration of the Guardians on film, including the Christmas special and some of those... what are they? The Groot little mini shorts of him dancing and getting into shenanigans. But yes, Volume 3 is going to be following our Guardians. It's the second time we've seen them post-Endgame. We saw them in Thor: Love and Thunder, and they left a lot of questions. Where is Gamora? Why is Gamora? And those things. I knew that I was very excited about it, but I wasn't sure what we were going to get. We know James Gunn he's gone. He's gone. He's still pumping this movie well, but he's working for the other guys. He's a traitor. He's a traitor to the Jedi, and but we wish him well. Big Tuna, were you excited, and did it meet those expectations?
I was excited. I think I tried to keep Ant-Man Quantumania's disappointment from affecting how I felt about Guardians.
Compartmentalized.
Yeah, compartmentalized, exactly. It's hard because even though these movies are integrated, they're so different. You get different directors, you get different writers, you get different tone and different overlap of certain characters. I know for sure that after having seen the first two Guardians movies, I think in my mind I was like, I don't see how the third Guardians is going to disappoint because the first two were done so well. You're bringing back this cast, you're building off this story. There's a large emotional investment with the characters, which is not very common in these superhero movies. Yes, we get, Scott Lang's got a daughter and these things. They recast the daughter, and he kind of has like a very tepid romantic relationship with Evangeline Lilly on screen. But the Guardians have felt like family. In the first movie, you see how they become family. And in Guardians 2, you see the family, I think in the holiday special, which a lot of people kind of slept on. I would totally recommend, if you have watched the Guardians movies and have not watched the holiday special on Disney Plus, absolutely watch it. It does explain a little bit of where the Guardians start with Guardians 3, with kind of what they're up to in a broad sense. But gosh, yeah, the movie, it felt like it hit all the right notes. It gave us a really good villain with the high evolutionary and awesome adaptation of the character. It did play around a little bit with the stakes. We weren't getting the whole like universe-ending threat. It was very personal to the cast, the characters, especially Rocket. It was really a Rocket story in many ways. But I will say this. So when it comes to looking at the way these characters have developed and where they're going to go in the future, and we could talk about some different theories with them talking about how this movie was kind of going to be the last Guardians movie with this team, I think it's important to recognize that the people that are creating these stories, James Gunn is the writer, and you got Kevin Feige, you got all these people involved. It feels very much like the James Gunn fingerprints are all over this trilogy. And I think that's why it succeeded. It's a unified vision. When you bring in different people who have kind of these conflicting, aspects, when there's studio meddling that we have seen in the past, DC has meddled in their stuff. Catherine Kennedy with Star Wars, there's been a lot of rumors about tension with David Filoni and Jon Favreau in the Star Wars universe. It seems like James Gunn has done nothing but sing the praises of Marvel for letting him tell his story, and gosh, it pays off.
Yeah.
I will say that somewhere right now, Kevin is probably looking at a corkboard with red string connecting different things, trying to figure out how he can get the actor who played the High Evolutionary, did a fantastic job, to be Kang, and just move forward and just be like, let's just branch this out. We'll just say he's a variant, may as well just branch off there. So you guys, what did you like? What were your expectations and thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in the bag for it. I was not the biggest fan of Guardians Volume 2 upon rewatching. I like it more, but it definitely didn't have the same magic as the first one. While this one didn't seem to have magic like the first one either, it did really reinforce that Vin Diesel family mentality. That's through all of the Guardians movies. Okay, Vin Diesel knows what he's talking about, guys. It's about family, and we were in a very there was a lot of tension with Rocket and Peter in the second one, and kind of Rocket pushing people away and realizing he doesn't have to. Like, these guys don't want to hurt him. They don't want anything from him other than his contributions to the family that they all contribute to. Them ending up on nowhere, living in the empty head of a celestial. You have you get to see, like, oh, we're putting up roots. Like, I would love to see Nowhere be something that other heroes go to the bar every now and again, very much like Warriors in DC, where Guy Gardner has that bar, and just like a cool way station for people to just a watering hole, hang out. See, you see some, Tony, well, not Tony, dang it, oh god, see Rhodey walking in the background, him and Nebula, they're buddies. He can go to Nowhere. Why not? Yeah. We did see, like you said, do we got a pronunciation on the man's name for High Evolutionary?
I've tried to get a phonetic spelling.
All right, Jordan, just put it on the screen. Okay, just put it on the screen. All right. I don't want to. I haven't heard it spoken.
It's gonna look. I believe he's from Nigeria. But with the spelling, I mean, it looks like somebody's knee bumped a Scrabble board.
Oh my gosh!
But again, I like
the disrespect.
He was so incredible.
Wow.
in Peacemaker.
Yes. My favorite character in Peacemaker.
Yeah, they did such a good job with him. He did such an awesome job as a villain. I don't want this to be the last time that we see this actor in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. It's. I don't want to. We'll spoil some things, but we're not gonna. I don't want to give away the whole goose. But he is fantastic. It was nice to get a Marvel villain that's just a villain. Even though Thanos is awesome, you can kind of see his point in some aspects. You don't necessarily hate him. You're glad that he lost, but also, dang, I'd like to see Thanos again. You hate the Eye Evolutionary, and you're still like, man, I hope we see him again.
Absolutely,
Killer performance. Great homage to the original design. Kind of went from the pink to purple, which is fine. And I love the kind of effect of like the flesh skin being like pulled back as a mask. Fantastic. Looked good. I didn't have a single gripe visual effects wise with this movie. Did you guys have anything that stuck out?
Not at all.
You know, you can pick something out definitive in each of the post Endgame films, and this one I have no problems with. I think it looks stunning. The creatures are great. Great nods to the comics. The ships always look good.
Oh yeah.
Even this kind of beefy Groot, who's kind of more of like a beefy teenager than what we saw before.
Right.
Erik, you've been the biggest naysayer of our group.
Sure.
You loved Guardians 2 when you saw it. You've been on all of this. Where are we at with you on this?
Oh, it was the worst one I've ever seen.
Dang it!
I'm just messing with you. I will say, this is probably the best Guardians movie.
Wow.
And it is in my top 5 MCU movies.
Wow.
This movie, like Jordan's point, is getting to see James Gunn wrap up his trilogy, a thorough storyline fleshed out completely.
Sure.
I'm sure things were had to been fixed here and there due to things like influx, with the MCU. But I will say the core storyline of Rocket coming to a head is. I didn't know I really needed that story. I wanted that story, or I wanted it to be the movie, and it was. I'm not giving too much away. You could probably glean.
You
that
get it from the trailer. Yeah. I don't think. You're betting the farm. Giving the farm away. Whatever.
Yeah, sure. But I think as much as you're gonna go into this and you're gonna get some laughs.
Yeah.
But I don't think I heard this many grown people weeping at a movie theater
in a while.
since Schindler's List,
oh my God.
or Passion of the Christ, maybe
the death of Qui-Gon Jinn.
No one was crying about that.
I was, man.
Were you really?
I wanted more Qui-Gon.
I wanted more Jesus.
Well, all right, Space Jesus.
Can we get Passion 2? You think they're gonna do that?
Yeah, Passion 2.
They actually are doing a Passion 2.
Are they really?
Yeah. And Mel Gibson has said that
is it when he comes back?
The plan. Well, no. The plan is to kind of expand on other parts of the Gospels that are not shown in the movie. So
right.
Really more like flashbacks. I cried in Garfield.
Hey, that's a sad movie, man.
I was like, who tricked me into this? One of the things about Guardians though is while it is a good movie for sure, just like a good steak, there's always a little bit that can be trimmed off. There's a few areas that were a little underdeveloped. One of the big things that sort of seemed glaring by the end of the movie is the inclusion of Adam Warlock. While it's interesting to give us this character, and he's teased at the end of Guardians 2, we see him almost immediately, right in the first 10-15 minutes of the movie in Guardians 3. He's essentially irrelevant to the story. I think he's introduced in here because it makes sense with the Sovereign and the storyline they write with the Sovereign and how they relate to the High Evolutionary. But if you remove his character from the movie, almost everything else that happens essentially happens. I think they're looking down the road. They want to build a roster. Again, you're getting actors that are older. Dave Bautista said this is kind of Drax's last hurrah. He's done with the character. So I think that maybe some of this in the movie is a little bit more to kind of give us a deeper bench in the next, maybe in the next 2 phases that they've already announced. We've got more Phase 5 and then Phase 6. But even still, though, he's not unwelcome in the story. It's cool to see Will Poulter bring this character to life, and his powers look awesome. They do kind of give us a sense of where they're going to go with that character by the end of the movie. But I will say, and I'll try to keep this mostly spoiler-free, this movie, being billed as the face, the music, it's all leading to this sort of thing. I think that all of us had kind of a general sense that this was not going to be a movie that ends with the entire team holding hands, the ship flying off into space, and that's it. I think there was a sense that we may get some serious, MCU shattering deaths, or something happens. As the movie progresses, you really see how each of the characters might be part of a family, but they're all missing something that the family doesn't give them. And so whether it's Rocket and kind of his origin and seeing how he developed, Peter's kind of unresolved issues with his humanity, leaving Earth from such a young age, Nebula and Gamora and their relationship, you sort of begin to see a lot more Mantis than I was expecting with her story and with Drax. You really begin to realize how much, even though in a family, a lot of times family members sort of fill in those gaps of what's needed, that doesn't always fully complete a person. And I think the movie does a good job reflecting on that. It makes for some of the most powerful emotional moments in the film.
I think with what you're saying too, it's even like a look at like, hey, we're all good when we're together, but we can't figure this out on our own, and like they need to. Sure. They needed to find that they're loved for who they are, but then also, who am I without you guys? Right. You know, we've saved the universe. We've lost loved ones. You know, Peter lost the love of his life. You know, like it is a hey man, we need to chill for a bit. You know, we have been the Guardians since we formed, and we've
taken on Ronan.
It's just been like one big thing after another, and loss and no grieving time. And I mean, he still hasn't even processed like the death of his mother properly.
Right. Which, you know, we're not going to give too much away, but I feel like every character got their send off.
Yeah.
Everyone got a great send-off.
Yeah.
That's not giving much away. It's a Guardians movie.
Yeah. Everything felt like it was left in good hands.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. I will say this, too, that a lot of... it's the musical choice in this, because everyone knows that the soundtrack is a character in all the Guardians movies. A lot of getting a split decision on the soundtrack on this one. It's either the best, in my opinion, it is the best soundtrack. A lot of deep cuts in there, the replacements, Faith No More, opening up with Creep, which I was a little like, really? You're going to do that?
Acoustic Creep.
Acoustic Creep, yeah, with just Johnny Greenwood and Tom York. But yeah, I was a little hesitant, but it does tie in to the entire story. So I was like, okay, good call on that. And another quick thing I will say, James Gunn is a flippin' genius. Yeah. We all know that, but the guy's so frickin' sly. Mm-hmm. The guy can spit in the face of creationists and Christians same time. The guy's a genius. He's like, there's no, I mean, your villain is the high evolutionary.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of talk about, you know, his minions typically say, oh my God, or God this, and God. And it's so genius how he's able to like not take sides and take jabs at both sides of the fence.
Perfectly acceptable.
And then there's this awesome Venn diagram at the end where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people picked up on it, but I thought it was genius how he did that. I was like, because nobody can be mad, or everybody can be mad. Which is great.
There is either upset everyone or upset no one.
Yeah, I think he did a great job with it, man. And just like how everyone fits into their place. Mm-hmm. Whether they're, you know, they don't know where they are, or they don't know who they are, or they just want to be heard. I think that's the point of the whole Guardians thing. They're the ragtag group, you know. They're the Magnificent Seven, you know. Is there 7 of them?
There's more now.
Sure.
We got Star-Lord, Gamora.
Sure. She counts.
We'll count her. Groot, Rocket, Drax, Mantis, Kraglin,
Nebula.
Nebula. I mean,
Cosmo.
If that gives us 8, I'd say you drop Gamora because she's more of a Ravager.
Now she is. Yeah.
So I think that gives you your Kurosawa.
There we go. But I think that everyone's story was wrapped up nicely. Yeah. Let's put it that way. As far as the effects we were talking earlier, I think it's seen a little more practical in here. It was interesting.
Yeah.
The vibrant colors on every character was great too. Yeah. And Drax even calling attention to that. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. He likes bright colors.
He does.
They call him.
Yeah, and I think Drax got a really good not necessarily an ending, but a good character send off in a way. Everyone tends to think he's stupid.
Yeah.
And then it comes full circle in a way. Yeah. Like it's beautiful, I think. Like there were points in this movie where I'm like, wow. When you think it's getting too sappy, they double down on it and it works.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Where Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania lacked heart, this is oozing heart.
Yeah.
It really does. Like this feels like the family of the MCU, and it still holds true. It, like I said, leaves the characters in strong places.
Right.
With that door to come open with a very interesting tag at the end, which we'll let you get to, and we'll probably talk about in a future episode.
We'll get to it. I always thought is funny is like people tend to think the Avengers were like the MCU family. Mm-hmm. They always just seem like coworkers to me.
Yeah.
Guardians are family.
Yeah.
And again, that's a big part of the movie.
Same thing, Justice League and Justice Society.
Very different, yeah.
Yeah, Justice League feels more like coworkers, but like coworkers who do care. Like, hey, you do good, I do good.
Right. They all do the Secret Santa.
Yes.
Right. They all put thought in their Secret Santa gifts. Yeah. But, they don't hang out on Christmas.
But the Guardians will teach you how to be a family, at least in the MCU at this point.
Right. And like Jordan said, Mantis.
Mantis
kind of steals the show.
I think it
Subtly, low key steals the show.
she's such a good part of it. And to Jordan's point earlier, the holiday special is very Mantis forward.
Sure.
So we are kind of on a Mantis high, and it doesn't feel like it's broken continuity at all. From where we get introduced to her as Ego's sleeping melatonin to being where she is now, and where they set her off to be later.
Yeah. Gorgeous actress, dude. You think she's gorgeous?
Palm Clementine. Yeah, she's fantastic.
He was saying,
And she's French.
Yeah.
She's French, but
And Roman said he had a mantis in his pantis at the theater.
Yeah.
You did say that.
Oh, Chris. Talk to your boy, Chris. Talk to your boy. But I did really like Warlock.
You did? Okay.
The whole theme of this movie for me is how it subverted all of my expectations. Everything I thought was going to happen didn't happen.
Right.
And,
Yes, that's a good way to put it,
And
yes.
I thought people are going to have their problems with him because he's kind of a doofus, but I mean, he comes out literally swinging.
He does come out swinging.
One
That's
of
a way
the
to
best-
open a movie.
One of the best fights we've seen.
Brutal.
Brutal, and makes a ton of sense.
It does, yeah.
There's very little fat in the movie. I do think the first third is pretty slow.
Yes.
but
it's building.
But there's a lot of subtle things in there that they take care of stuff. And man,
It has to set up a lot, though. That's the thing, and I don't mind going back on it. Is a little slow.
It did,
but when you go back and kind of look back,
it all works together.
It does.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
I get why it had to pace a little slower. Warlock initially, I was mad.
Yeah.
Seething
I
mad.
was wondering.
Oh, I was so mad.
Yeah.
But didn't end up that way.
No.
It did not. I ended up being like, okay.
Yeah. And looked cool.
He looked good.
awesome.
He looked good. The kid from We Are the Millers. He looked buff. He looks buff, man. I don't know how they did that.
He got shredded. He's actually British, and they shred well.
He is British?
He is British.
Son of a
absolutely.
They're all British in the MCU.
Yeah, they all are. Now, a couple of interesting things though with Adam Warlock. So throughout the movie, you kind of see a little bit of a playfulness to him. Even though he's kind of got this stern look, those eyebrows are higher than half the people at Woodstock in August of 1969. But he's got kind of this playfulness, and I heard it described to the fact that he's a child.
Yeah.
He was created. He was born. Right. You see kind of that tag at the end of Guardians 2. And so he's not really comfortable with himself. He's very attached to his mother. We get the return of the leader of the Sovereign.
Yeah.
And so they're very much together. They did a pretty good job, in my opinion, adapting the costume, the little skull on his chest, and they kept the stone, but it's not.
I don't even know what it
utilized.
does.
It's not even drawn attention to. So I don't know if that's something.
Yeah.
They'll be recommended.
I figured that they would make it the Sunstone since that is what Vision had.
Yeah, I think they
before.
just swapped.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me
Because it was the
that's
Soul
what they-
Stone in the books, right?
Yeah.
So Vision has that, right?
No, Vision is the Mind Stone.
He has the Mind Stone.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, so
So it's already getting convoluted here.
but no, that's fine.
That's fine. I don't mind it at all.
Alternate universes.
But they
It
did
works.
say in the movie that they did let him out of his cocoon early, so that's why he might be a little on the kiddie
Yeah,
side,
he's a little what you call it, a little adolescent.
on the spectrum.
Yeah. But like you said, he had a great look. His powers looked really cool.
Yes.
I never really know how strong Drax is, though.
Right, it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, because it's somebody because then how strong is Ronan? Would Ronan have gotten it beat up by? Because remember, Ronan just hands Jack.
Oh yeah,
Drax
he just wrecks him.
Yeah. So I don't know, but then other times it's he's taking shots straight to the face.
Yeah, right.
And it's fine.
I don't know. Maybe he's like Gladiator and it's based on his confidence. Maybe they just do that with his character.
So there's one character that we have yet to mention, and that's Groot.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting things with Groot because there's a sense if you see Groot in Love and Thunder, he's still kind of in that sort of adolescent age, phase, if you will, still sapling. But then in this movie, he seems a lot fuller.
Yeah. We see him like that in the holiday special.
In the holiday special, yeah. I'm sorry. So I meant the gap between Love and Thunder and the holiday special. But he very much seems to have better. I don't know what you'd say. Maybe an adaptation to how his physical body works and functions. We see him expanding his size more. He kind of gets a little bit more of a kind of, Ant-Man, Giant Man sort of vibes every now and then. There's a shot we see him kind of do like a sprout some wings, kind of glide. We get to see some cool stuff there. It is interesting, though, that Groot kind of became sort of this almost like mascot for the team, where he was just sort of around, and in the first movie he feels more like an enforcer. It's sort of like, all right, Groot, take care of this.
He's the muscle.
And he does
Rocket's
it.
Muscle.
In Guardians 2, he's the comic relief. He's the adorable, cute, danced Electric Light Orchestra, and Rocket explained to him about setting off the bomb to kill Ego. It's really clever stuff. But then in Guardians 3, he feels like one of the team. He's competent. At one point, Peter hands him guns, and he's like, "You know what to do with this," and he nods and takes them. There's not it's like, so that character, we've seen him. Groot dies. We have this little baby Groot. And then and I think we see, even with a character who says 3 words in all the movies, pretty much. There was a report that they were going to fire Vin Diesel because he kept forgetting his lines.
I believe that. I believe.
But it is interesting that even a character that doesn't have an emotional development in the story, we don't get background and context in these things. There's still this sense of like he's a part of the family. He's contributing to the team. Even someone like Kraglin, who in Guardians 2, it's kind of like, okay, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Or Cosmo and stuff. Like everyone ends up having a role to play.
Yeah. You can see their
everyone
function.
gets their shine.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and
Everyone
you
gets their
see
shine.
why. Even though it's a family and it's like everyone belongs, you end up seeing how they contribute.
Yeah.
Right. Can we real quick mention that I think we all agree maybe High Evolutionary should just replace Kang.
Yeah. Like,
I saw him more as a threat
yeah.
than Kang ever. In all those scenes and movies Kang's in, High Evolutionary is like, I feel more terrified of him.
The Evolutionary War could have been a really fun, 3-movie thing.
Dude.
And, I think Marvel's going to have to get to this point where we're not culminating to Avengers movies, where we're like, okay, Guardians and Inhumans and Fantastic Four, these 3 characters are going to have, something's going to take place in their 3 movies.
Right.
And just do that. They don't have to culminate to this event, but you do have to watch these 3 movies to get what's going on later. We can have the Secret Wars and the Secret Invasions and the whatevers all tie up, but some of these smaller, recognizable things,
right.
We should do that as smaller little mini church stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they were kind of doing in that first wave or whatever you call it. Phase?
Yeah,
first phase,
Eric.
yeah.
Jesus, man. Look what they did to you, Eric. Look what the MCU's done to you.
It's made me forget.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, that's right.
They did Guardians lately.
They did. I'm saying.
You right.
I feel like they should have opened with that. With Phase 5.
But dude,
they would take the sting off of, every time.
It would make it worse.
I don't think so. I think they released that first, and then Ant-Man came out okay, that was really awful, but, they did Guardians. That was pretty cool. But the thing is, I think it's affecting their box office numbers.
Yeah.
Because now not if people are going to see Guardians, like, oh yeah, Ant-Man was a pile of crap.
Yeah, Ant-Man.
So, because, it's doing good, but it's not hitting those Guardians 2 numbers even.
Well, the world's different now. So I have no idea when the proper gauge will be back for box office, because with day and date streaming, it's a it has affected the business. So it's going to have good legs. It's rewatchable, but it's long though.
It is long.
It's 2 hours.
Like you said, it's long like The Godfather.
It is. It has that thing where you're like, wow, we did cover a lot of stuff.
You did, yeah. And you remember those parts, and you can't wait to get to those parts. That's why it doesn't seem long.
Shout out to Nathan Fillion.
Sure.
Man, dude's always in these Guardians movies, and he is just always so funny. I love that Gunn uses a lot of the same people.
Oh, yeah.
People don't like it. Some people don't, but I'm like, why? It's fun. It's
homies,
it's, that's his wife. She was the one of the people that was in the security center on the space anus.
The space anus, yes. There is a space anus.
Yeah, and to all the people that are like, I don't like this or whatever. I'm sorry. A lot of directors do this. Look at the pool Nolan pulls from.
Yeah.
Look at the pool Scorsese pulls from.
Yeah.
Look
And
at
Adam
the pool-
Sandler.
Adam Sandler, exactly. Yeah,
Rob
yeah.
Schneider.
Yeah,
Shout out to my
yeah.
Alan
Mike.
Covert.
Yeah, it's cool. My wife and I are big fans of the show. The Rookie, Nathan Fillion in the last episode, he's sitting there eating cereal, wearing a Guardians of the Galaxy shirt. His brother in the show, it's his half brother. He shows up like once a season. Is Pete Davidson? Pete Davidson has he's a masked alien in the movie.
Yes,
he
he
is
is,
in the
yeah.
credits though, so you'll see at least his name there. You won't recognize him, but yeah, I think it's cool to pull from actors you're comfortable with, that you use them in different ways. But yeah, I just can't wait to find out that Chris Pratt is voicing Crypto in Superman Legacy.
Is that a fact?
No,
Yeah.
but,
I was gonna say, well, that's
but
awesome.
it sounds like Crypto is there's a lot of illusions that he's going to be included.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
actually,
want
what
it.
most people do
I
not
know
know is besides Mario, the next project that Chris Pratt is voicing a character for is callback to a joke from earlier in the episode, Garfield.
Oh, really? Who's he voicing?
Garfield.
He is the voice of Garfield?
He is the voice of
I
Garfield.
did not know that.
Yeah, that's why Chris Pratt eats nothing but lasagna. He's getting in the role.
Oh my gosh.
It's method acting.
He is quite method and he hates Mondays. Kids, that's our show. If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you thought of Guardians. Did it meet your expectations? Subvert them, as I keep saying. Or did you dislike it? I haven't met anybody who dislikes it. Everybody who's seen it coming through the shop has had nothing but good things to say. But hating makes money. So I'm curious to see what... I haven't seen much negative. Have you? Nah, hey, that's tough, and I'll take it. Erik, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
Yeah, close the fucking door.
Close the door, kids. Close the door. Any hot, fresh tuna takes?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is just wildly out of control. Kang is such a threat that he has to be banished by every other Kang, and he gets beaten by like a late 40s ex-con and a bunch of ants. The High Evolutionary stands toe-to-toe with the Guardians, plus pretty much everyone else that's introduced in the movie. I'm sorry, give me the High Evolutionary Dynasty.
Yes.
I could be into that, kids.
Dynasty, baby.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Erik Icarus.
And for the Big Tuna, we will catch you on the next podcast.